there. Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh,
Can you hear
how
me?
sweet. All right, it says again, it looks like the stream was deleted on Facebook. Try creating a new.
Hmm.
Well, that's sad. Okay, well, we'll just go over to Instagram real quick. It's gone.
Oh no.
Can you believe that? Well, I
Oh,
can hear you, so it doesn't matter, right?
yeah, I can hear you too. Is it streaming anywhere for you?
Um, yes, YouTube.
Okay. Let's see. Do you want to try for the Instagram? Do you want to see if we can get it on Instagram?
I think it says once you're live. Okay, I don't know what it's doing. Um,
Oh, sorry, Angie.
oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is it. Name changes.
Looking on my.
I think it's going. Maybe. Okay, I don't care. It just might be me and you.
Oh, someone sees us. Oh, YouTube sees us.
Okay.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Katrine.
Gotta put the chats on.
Yep.
Hey everybody, I'm just so happy I can hear Shaina and not like we did. I had to read lips last week. So
Yes. Oh my gosh.
that was hilarious. So
Oh no. I
thank you.
mean, that's all you can do with this technology stuff is just laugh when it's,
I
yeah.
know. It's just and now oh comments. Yeah, I guess maybe that would be where how I find everything, right?
Yes, comments, you'll see people chatting.
There we go. Thanks, guys. Hey Katrin. And then all right. Oh, they can see and hear. Great.
Hi, Kim. Hello.
Yeah. Oh, she was on Facebook, and I hope that might be your Facebook.
Might be my Facebook, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, we got one. I've tried. We can hear. That's all. Hey guys, it's time for yarn and tea, and as you've been hearing, we've been playing, and I'm just so excited I can hear her. If you missed last week, it was a really treat. So it's still out there, and you can go view it and have a good laugh. But it's yarn and tea, and today Shayna was teasing me and said she likes tea. So I thought I would just, I never asked my guests about their tea experience, and I don't know why. So tell me about your tea experience.
Um, I've always loved tea from as far back as I can remember, maybe I guess teenage years or something like that in that vicinity, but it wasn't until maybe like 10 years ago that I started getting into fancier teas. I was at a steakhouse with my husband and I ordered a rooibos tea at the end
Mm,
of the night, and out came this like very fancy brand, Le
yeah.
Palais de Thé, that I'm saying all wrong. Yes, they had a vanilla rooibos that was like insane. It tasted like dessert, and I found their store in New York City. I went and spent, a bazillion dollars there. But anyway, I've found other tea brands I like, but I brought my a few of my favorite teas from my tea stash
Look
today.
at that.
This one is just like a fun iced tea, but my favorite brand lately is Harney and Sons.
Oh yeah.
And so I have green tea with coconut. My husband took me to the Berkshires in Massachusetts for our anniversary, and we drove home a way that I've never been before. I used to go as a kid growing up. We drove home a different way, and all of a sudden we're driving past this little town, and I see the Harney and Sons tea room that I never knew existed, and I flipped out. And so I treated myself to a couple of my favorites, but I really love the apricot with black tea, and jasmine tea is one of my favorites. So I got their black jasmine. These are all loose leaf, but I don't know. I just love
That's
tea.
awesome.
And then my favorite tea whenever I'm like shipping out an order is the stash tea, because it's so
Oh.
cute with yarn, right? Like to send out a stash tea. So um I love the sunny orange ginger, and for myself the peach tea, whatever. I'm just a
So
tea.
you put those in your orders?
Yeah, I send out like a little card that says happy knitting, and I put in a tea bag. And
Ah,
it's cute. You should do it too, Angie.
I think I will. I've done a little bit before, but I'm not ever put in some thought about what
You're
it
the
might
tea person.
say.
You're the
That's right.
tea
I
head.
love, and the only reason I started this is because I started learning more about it. So it was kind of like, well, why don't I share, my kind of ups and downs and experiences and all that. So, and because somebody else might, and I can learn from them if they've got something going on. So but yes, Harney and Sons was my first because I love Earl Grey,
Mm,
and they have that Imperial and
yes.
Royal that I have plenty of now. And but yes, and I tried their Paris,
Oh, yes.
and it's acquired taste. It's good, but it's very it's different. And I don't think I could drink it all the time, but just once. But it's really good, and a lot of people are like that particular kind. So,
Yeah, I know
but
that's
stash tea is fun. Okay, I'll have to look. So Mary J. Chai, that is my. That's
oh my gosh. They had so many chais when I was at their tea room. So
have you had gone for a tea, afternoon tea, or anything like that?
we did when I was on my trip in Scotland. We
Oh,
planned for a high
right.
tea, and that was so fun.
Uh,
Um, my sister is really like a professional tea drinker. She goes to teas all the time with her husband, and she even has those pots that boil your water to just the right temperature and a timer to steep the tea. She really goes above and beyond. So like, really professional tea drinker, but so I've been to just that one high tea in Scotland, though. So at least
oh, that's easy.
that's on my
That
mind. Yeah,
trumps everything. Yep.
yes. But when we drove past the Harney and Sons in upstate New York, we stopped there and I had an iced tea and a scone, which was delicious. But yeah, I'd like to do that more often. I'd like to go to an afternoon tea. And actually, what am I saying? When I studied abroad for a semester in England. We were just near it was not London. We were near Banbury. It was in Banbury, and there was tea every afternoon. At the kitchen at the university, we stayed in an abbey. Actually, it's very fancy, but we stayed in an abbey, and every afternoon there was tea and cookies. And I would go and I would just like read my book and have some tea and cookies. So while I studied abroad, I guess I did formal British tea. Yeah.
I know. And the reason I got into it is watching those British shows. Isn't that terrible? But I just couldn't help myself.
That makes a lot of sense. I
I
love
know. Now I have a tea bar in my kitchen. I'm going to make pictures of it, but I'm in the middle of doing all kinds of construction thing. But I have a
that's
tea bar. So it's just like hilarious. The coffee's over there, but the tea's right there. So it's kind of
that's
fun.
really nice. That's awesome. Oh my
And I
gosh.
have to share one more thing for all of those. And I guess we didn't introduce ourselves. I just assume people know. But then I thought, I forgot you've got your folks coming on and I have mine. But this is my latest discovery. You guys, this lady at the Fiber Festival this weekend was dressed, or last weekend was dressed in, I don't know, Renaissance. Um, I don't
Like a
know.
like
Like
Renaissance attire.
I want to say, I don't know. I don't. I want to say wizardry, but I don't. I'm not. I don't know. But anyway, it was hilarious. It was great. Not funny, but I'm like, oh my gosh! I saw she was carrying a little tea kettle with her, and I noticed they've been sitting over there in the booth, and they're just spinning. They're not selling. They're just demoing. And all of a sudden, I looked down at her belt, and I saw one of these. Hers was brown, and there was a teacup and saucer in it. And so, it's like you said, a holster for I like. Oh my gosh! I had to come home and get one, even if it just sits there and stares at me. But or maybe I'll have to make a point to go to a Renaissance festival or something. But
Just to wear
I
your
couldn't
tea
believe
holster.
it. I told my son, I showed it to him, and he was like, "Mom, what are you doing now?" Well, I don't know, but I thought that was pretty. And the cup came with it. So it was like cup and saucer came with it. So I am just excited.
It
I
is
just feel like it's
hilarious.
a break. It is. It's just, and this isn't in here very well. So it's like, okay, you got to be careful with it. But anyway, I thought it was great. So
Oh my
that was my new find as and believe me or not, if you put steampunk or Renaissance, mainly steampunk, I don't care. There's thousands of them that come up from Etsy, and some of them are, that wasn't that expensive, but
Wait a minute.
um,
So, like, this is a thing then.
it,
It's
it
more
is
than
a
just that
thing.
one person you saw where you can go and
Yes,
buy a holster for your teacup and saucer.
it's a tea bra, Mary Jeff. That's true. I'm telling you, I could not believe it. No, there's all kinds of there's ones with colors. There's ones with you just go look and just I'm amazed at what's out there. I see. I live under a rock. I guess I had no idea. So
I didn't know there was such a thing in tea culture.
now
It's
maybe I'll wear it at Rhinebeck. I'll make sure I have my.
I
I'll
might have
figure
to get one for my sister. I think I might have to get one
that
for
would be
her.
so cool if
She
she's
loves
into
going to the
it.
Ren Fair, and she's a tea freak. I should get
Yes,
her.
I'm telling you, you will. It's yeah, it'll be a novelty at least. But heck, I'm gonna figure out a way to wear it. But so whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. It's
Well, I
hilarious.
guess we better get on to the yarn piece of
Oh,
it.
right, yarn. Yeah.
So,
I really
but
enjoy tea.
you know, I guess I'll just tell everybody for those of you don't know. Hey, Victoria, how are you? Um, so I'm Angie, and I drive around a bus named Pearl that is full of yarns. So it's a mobile yarn store here outside of Atlanta, and I'm venturing out. I've been up as high as I don't know Raleigh and down in Florida. So that's about 6 hours. I went to Kentucky too. So I saw where Christine's going to Virginia next year. And she said I could come then. And when I looked at the hours, I went, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. If I have to do it in two, spots, but that would be fun to go there. So, but that's what I do, go around to different shows, and people want me to come over, yarn parties, and all kinds of good things. So I have nothing but indie dyed yarn on the bus. So that makes it even more special because I try not to have anything anyone else has. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And those of you, I have Shaina, and we know each other. We just started talking. But for those that aren't, hey, Laura, or not, don't know Shaina, I met Shaina. How did I meet you?
Was it through Keith?
It must have been. It had to
I,
be. I know I made your poncho as a
right.
testament, but I guess it was. I guess it was. And then we end up knowing so many of the same people, and it just kind of like so. It's natural that we have connection. But Shayna's a designer, a teacher. What else besides being a mom and a wife and all those
Oh
good
yeah.
things? But in the
All those.
yarn industry, and she puts great retreats together too. So. But
And I
I
do a
asked her
little.
to come on because she's doing a lot of things. So,
Yes. I do a little bit of yarn dyeing, not major,
oh,
just
that's
for my
right.
own knitting boxes and things. But yeah, and I've got retreats coming up that are fun. I have so much I want to talk about. But I have a question
Go
for you,
for it.
Angie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how far are you from Savannah?
Oh, just about 4 hours. That's all. That's where I grew. I grew up on St. Simon's, and
Okay.
my mom was in Savannah for a very, very long time. So I just moved her up here a year and a half ago. So yes, are you going to be in Savannah?
I just might have a girls' knitting weekend in
Oh
Savannah.
wow!
Pearl, the yarn bus, needs to come and visit.
I
So,
know, and I've had asked for to come near Charleston,
mhm.
and uh, there's a new store I saw open up in Bluffton, which is right across the bridge to go into South Carolina. So
Oh,
you'll have to check out that one too. But
okay.
but yeah, we'll figure that out.
Okay,
So
good. I'll keep that. As you said, it like clicked. I'm like, of course, you should be
hmm
coming to the event. So in terms of events, I just got back. You were mentioning Christine.
mm,
I just got back from Scotland. I did an amazing tour in Scotland.
my dream
Um,
trip.
it was so fun. I'd love to schedule it again, maybe for 2028 or something like that. I don't know. I'll keep it in mind. But it was really a wonderful, wonderful trip. And then I'm planning with Christine of Peachtree Fiber Adventures a trip to Iceland for 2026. Yeah, that'll be happening spring 2026. And we still have a few adjustments we're making to the itinerary, but it's open for booking. And I'm really psyched about that. We're going to do a lot of different knitting workshops and visit farms and the Lopi factory, all of, yeah. So those are some of the trips I have coming up. And then got new designs coming out, all sorts of things. I like to keep busy while I drink my tea.
Did you show me the, did you, I said, I love your new stones or pebbles. I couldn't remember which one.
You love my stones.
I love your stones. I just remember part of it. I knew it was something like that. I don't know.
The skipping stones cowl.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
So
so pretty.
I originally designed a shawl with this pattern for my friend Marie Green of Olive Knits, and I re-released that shawl under my own brand last month, and then I brought this with me as a project to knit while I was in Scotland. So this was my travel project, and then I just released the pattern this week. So it's 20% off on Ravelry right now, but it's
I
just
love it.
so comfy. One skein of fingering weight yarn, you
One,
know, yeah. And you'll see I had about 20 test knitters. So you can see on Ravelry all the different colors. People used multicolors and self stripes for this, and it was phenomenal. But what I love about it, the design, is that the eyelets are different sizes. So I've got single yarn over eyelets here, and then down in this section, it's double sized eyelets. So 2 yarn overs that make up the eyelet. So it's got this, so skipping stones, because we've got all these little holes, these ripples going through, whatever. It's cheap. I get that way when I design. I'm like, what should I name this thing?
I mean, I'm terrible. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's very tricky to name things. I have such a hard time naming my patterns. And then I forget all the names too, which is hilarious. I'll be in the middle of a workshop talking about some design that's relevant to that workshop. And I'm like, I don't remember the name of this sweater. I had to look up the name of this one before I got done. I was like, just in case anyone asks. But yeah, so this is the Skipping Stones cowl. And I have a wrap pattern too. It's fingering weight yarn. And it's just a lot of fun because it's constantly changing. And I need that in my life. I need to be able to have something to look forward to in my projects. Like, okay, just have 8 rows of garter and then I'm ready for this. And
that's right.
Yeah.
You have to. So
yes.
At that point, I know Kim asked me, she asked on Facebook about where I was going to be in Virginia, and I tried to answer, but I forgot I'm not on Facebook for some reason today.
Oh, Kim.
But it was. I just wanted to tell her it's Medford. I think is that a place? I think that's what I remember. But it's been. I forgot when she's going to be there. But follow Peace Tree Fiber Adventures. She has some wonderful trips coming up, and then already out to 27 she's got things working, so
yeah,
kind of cool.
It is cool. Her trips are great. Christine does such a nice job putting things together. She's so organized and thoughtful
and laid back, and we have a lot of fun. The North Carolina one I will never forget, so that was well, tell me what else you have. Something else you've been working on. We talked your stash.
Yes, I'm having. Oops, sorry, I'm in right now the summer of stash. That's what I'm doing this summer. I decided I really wanted to encourage people to knit down their stashes, kind of get control of their stashes, because the one thing I hear from a lot of students is how much yarn they have. They're never going to be able to finish all their projects, in the time that they have left on this earth, things like that. And I often feel the same about my stash. So I go through my stash about twice a year and I get rid of things. I donate them or I give them to friends, donate yarns. And often I'll look through projects and decide, okay, I'm really not going to knit this thing. And I'll either unwind the yarn and save it for a different project, or I will donate it, whatever it is. So I decided, why don't I put together a summer program where we have Zoom meetups once a month to encourage each other to use stash and knit stash. And then weekly, I'm sending out emails with prompts to help people either organize or use up stash. So last week was the first week of the summer of stash, and the prompt was organize your stash, which might take you all summer, depending on your stash. No judgment.
If you're ADHD, you just do it and you
Oh,
Jump to the next one, and then you've got a whole mess. So
yeah,
anyhow,
I did a video for that week of me organizing my stash for YouTube, and I still have a box here of this of like the stuff I was like, I don't know what to do with that. So now it's all just in this box, sort of staring at me next to me at the
but you have
computer.
it contained into one place, so
Exactly.
that's a
That's my
positive.
confusion box, and it's all right there. But this week's prompt is to organize your WIPs, your works in
Oh,
progress.
yes, yes.
And you know what my favorite part of organizing the WIPs is? Is when you start finding random stuff in the knitting bag that you've been missing, right? Like, oh, there are those glasses. And I've been looking for that hand lotion. And oh my gosh, my size yada yada needles that I've been looking for, like um so I always enjoy going through knitting bags. It's one of my it's it's like treasure hunting kind of. But this is one whip that I've had. I was looking through my whips earlier. This is one whip that I have, and I cast this on I think 3 years ago. It's a sweater. This was Keith's Slubby Dubby yarn, so
Oh,
Yarn Snob Yarns when he had the Slubby Dubby, and I really have like almost the sweater done. I just have to do the sleeves, but I hate knitting sleeves in top down sweaters. I find them so annoying to do. So that's why I think this one went on the hang on pile. Um, and then the other thing in that same bag, this yarn has some special memories. And that's part of what we're unpacking in Summer of Stash, that, yarns have memories for us. Yarns bring up different times of our lives or places that we've been, all that kind of stuff. So this one is from a yarn store I used to work at, and I have no idea what I was doing with this. Um, this, I think I was making like a little poncho-y vest kind of thing, but it's a cashmere. The yarn has been discontinued. When I stopped working at the yarn store and I opened my own yarn shop, the owner gave me a gift. She had been training me. My friend Dory Kirshner um, owned a yarn shop in Red Bank, New Jersey. It was called the Woolly Monmouth, because Red Bank is in Monmouth County. And so, when it was time for me to spread my wings and fly, she gave me this beautiful gift. So I've had this cashmere for 18 years, and I've knit 3 things in it. And each time I'm like, oh, that's not good enough for this yarn. It's not good enough for this yarn. And I rip it out. So I don't really know where I was at with this one, but it seems good enough. Maybe I'll keep this. It looks like I was, yeah, it looks like I was on the neckline shaping. Maybe I'll finish this puppy. I don't know. But yeah. So those are just 2 of the whips that really have been sitting for a couple years. Um, and then downstairs in my knitting area where I like knit and watch TV and hang with my son, um, I've got another like 4 project bags. So
oh wow.
yeah, well, like this is one of them. I'm knitting. This is Asylum Fibers. I picked it up last year
Ooh.
at the Sheep and Wool Festival, and this will be a vest for this fall. I have a couple colors that I'll be working into it. Yeah, and then I'm knitting. Hopefully, this will be done soon. Look at all these whips. It's not good. I thought I was like really in control of my whips, Angie. I thought I had it down to like 2, and I'm realizing I've got like 4 or 5 things actively going, and that's maybe a little too much for me. So this is a summer bag. Yeah, I'm hoping to get this done within the next week or 2 so that
What
I
is it
can
again?
summer bag, a linen
Oh
bag.
wow.
Yeah, like a beach bag. So you could bring,
Yeah.
a few things to the beach with you or whatever. So yeah, this is the bottom.
Oh, you can get that done. Get it
Oh,
going, girl.
I'm on the straps. I'm on the straps, so it should be going. So anyway, those are just some of my whips. But it's been nice to do the summer of stash so far. Like I have people on my Ravelry group and commenting on Facebook and that kind of thing, like just talking about their stash, and we're all cheering each other on. It's so far been a very nice community building thing. So
Sure.
yeah. What are your whips?
Well, I think I took them away from here because no, I did just I'll talk about whips for a minute. I did go through and call and look, and like you said, you find things, oh my God, that yeah. And I remember finding some good things that I thought I had lost, but getting needles back because owning a store, you don't care. You'll just say, I can't find my sevens, I'll just go get another pair off Pearl. Well, that's not. Good. I looked and I had like 7, 8 pairs of sevens just from where I'd picked them up off the whatever. So, mm-mm. But in December, I had gone ahead and frogged a bunch of stuff that, that wasn't gonna, it wasn't me anymore. It was not gonna fit, and I didn't like the yarn, and so
Understood.
just frogged it, got my needle back, and put everything up. But in December, I did start. I had two projects I was going to keep, and then then I found that I needed to have at least 5 or 6 going actively that I could switch from.
Okay.
But the key was I wanted to have the yarn picked out, the needles. If it was a sweater, I swatched it and did all my gate. I had it all ready so that I didn't have to start anything but just go cast on. You get kind of, oh no, I got to do a swatch. Oh no, I got to go find the needle. Oh no. Well, that just takes, so I laid them up there, and I even did a little video of them lined up. But I got done with 3 of them. One was a sweater, another was a cow, and actually I made 2 cows from that. And gosh, what was the other one? I think it was a shawl, but I got done with them by like end of March.
Okay.
So I said, "Oh, well, that's a way I can, go
That's
back and forth." But I didn't have to waste time, delaying because I had already done everything I needed to do.
that's so smart. I love that. I never thought to do that. I mean, I guess maybe in some disorganized way in my brain, I do that, right? Like I've got a bag full of
Yeah.
swatches for projects that I need to design. So
Mm-hmm.
like that, so in that sense, I guess I have it all ready to go for when I'm ready to just grab it and start. But that's a really great suggestion, Angie, for hobby knitters too. Like just
Yeah.
to like if you know you have a couple sweaters for your works in progress, so next week that might be relevant to the challenge next week is like, all right, let me think on how I can incorporate your cool tip
And you
into.
can't start any once you do it. You can't. I have not. I can only have 7, so took away 3. I put 3 back, but only because I have been fortunate in the last few months to have found some sample knitters, and Laura's on. She just finished something from me, and I think it was a sweater, Laura. I'm sorry, um, but I can't keep up. That's the hard part. And I decided I want to knit for fun as
Yeah.
well. I know I need samples, and the deal is I usually make the samples to fit me so that everyone can try them on. Because if they fit me, they're going to fit everyone else. And so everybody has loved that. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many people put on the sweater I had on display at Nashville, that every size could put it on and it looked different. And oh, she just dropped it at the post office, so it'll be great. Yay! So but you think about that, and so I know I want the samples. I don't want them made in small, just the yarn. I want to make them big enough to where everybody can have a. Because I never got to. I'd go to stores and wouldn't be able to try anything on,
Yeah.
and just kind of guess at what it might look like, and still do that today when I look at patterns. But I'm trying to cull that down to, okay, I like V-necks. I like structured set-in sleeves, trying to figure out what looks good on me. And that's what Kimberly and I also talked last week on about is, stop just looking at a project and saying, oh, I want to make that because so and so did it. But there's Debbie. Um,
Hi,
and
Debbie.
hey, Shane. That's my travel partner. And but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we make things and then they don't necessarily look good. But that's what I try to do on the whips. It's just I've been really strategic, and I'm into vests. So hopefully, I've got this one vest. We all laughed about my swatch. I put it out there. It's called, and I'm using this
Ooh,
yummy
that
yarn.
color. Oh,
Mm,
fabulous. Whose
it's
yard is that?
it's fiber MacGyver's.
Oh, very cool.
So she's
That's
going to be
awesome.
coming. They're going to come on very soon. I picked out my colors, but we got to talk some more. But oh, I love this. And I put it on Facebook, or I made a post to see what everybody thought about the what the gauge was and all the tools I was using. And it's
That's right.
funny, yes. And it's funny because people come back at 4.5, and I went, oh Lord, then I was I'm way off because you count and you count again, you lose your
Yes.
count. But I do like some of the tools, but then I like the two new ones a lot. But then it could go either way on some. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's a hard thing. But I make my swatches because it's important.
It is very
Because
important.
this thing right here, if it I'm praying what I saw is okay because I cast it on for that vest and it is bottom up.
I do love that new tool for what is it? Twice sheared sheep? Is that the
Yes.
yes where they have the little rectangles and you just lay it over? That's
Yeah.
pretty.
And
I
then
know.
the Trinkles has the one with the round one with the zips
The
in it,
zigzags.
and it does work. Except I did think it worked well. It definitely gets you close to which one, but then it could. I was saying, okay, that could be 5 or 5.5 because it has this little bitty edge on the side. But I we'll see. I took it as 5 was my what do they tell you to take several pieces, do several times, and then get the average?
That works too. Yeah.
Not necessarily with different tools, but whatever. So
So when I saw that post of yours, I thought you were just like, "Oh, check out all these cool tools." I didn't realize you were looking for help measuring your gauge. Now that I know, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna chime in on what I think your gauge might be.
yes, see what
Yes,
you think. Because
that's
I
so
was
funny.
trying out the new tools, but then I thought about all these other tools that I had. Because one of them was Ann Bud's. I don't think I posted that one, but
Oh, Ann Bud made a tool?
yeah, long. I don't know how long ago it was. Let me
Ooh.
still out here. Oh yeah, it is.
Oh, very oh, so
So it's the same, you know what I mean? It's
that
looking,
same concept. Wow.
and so that's the same as what's been put out there now, but I don't know when this was done. This says 2017,
Oh, wow.
ambudknits.com. So it's funny though, it only uses all of them are no longer 4 stitches, 4.5, 4 to 9. I guess that's about right. Is there anything? I thought they would be smaller.
Smaller than 9 stitches to an inch?
No, that's pretty big. Okay, got it.
Yeah, no, I but it's
That's right. So that's about right.
yeah,
A
yeah.
good
I
gauge.
guess if you're
I
a
think
sock
the
knit
round one doesn't do some, but I thought, okay, so I even tried that and it worked. It was at 5. So let me know what you
I'm gonna go and look. I will definitely look and
because
figure.
it's interesting. And also you think about the pulling your pape out. Somebody told me that stretches,
Oh,
your tape measure if
I
it's
mean, they're
you know
fiberglass. You would think, or they're right? Aren't they?
um,
Or fiber?
if it's cloth or if
Oh,
it's the plastic, keep pulling and
yeah.
pull out a few of yours to see if they're the same. It's
That's
kind of funny.
one of my students ordered a tape measure from, some cheap site. I don't know what it was, a random tape measure. She was like, "Oh, it was $1." I ordered it. We held it against one of my tape measures, and like an inch on my measuring tape was an inch and a half on hers. Like there was absolutely
See?
no, yeah, it was hysterical. Actually, we threw it away, of course, but what a waste! Like,
I,
what an absolute waste
well,
of.
what were they thinking?
I
I guess that's why it
seriously,
was a dollar.
yeah,
But
crazy.
that's kind of like those. So that kind of was to the point where I've been trying to teach and talk and get on a soapbox about gauge
Yes,
because it's so important.
it really is.
And
Yeah,
I've, and that speaking of whips, that's why a lot of mine got frogged because
gauge issues.
they were pre-gauge, pre-swatch.
I see.
So PS, pre-swatch. And
Oh,
I learn now, so it's kind of a different story. So
yeah. No, that's great. And that's the best part of knitting is each time we do a project, we learn more and more and can apply it to our next projects. Um,
mhm.
yeah. So sorry you had to learn the hard way though. about cage and rip out a bunch of
I
stuff.
want to
That's
know. I still have this huge sweater in the I mean, huge. It grew too. I learned that was superwash, but I didn't. It was heavy, and
uh,
then of course I let it get heavier.
yeah,
But it was dreaming color, red. It's nice red something. It was nice yarn. Did they do
yeah.
something with cashmere in it? I
They
can't.
did. They had like a smushy or a classy that had cashmere in it, which also,
I think that was what it was. So I haven't
yeah,
thrown it away. So it's like, should I undo it and make something else, or is it gone? I don't know what the fiber
that's
could
so
be.
interesting because you know what? You're reminding me a few years ago, a woman that I was working with, she was knitting a sweater for her husband and it was the classy, and she had gotten some bad advice to wash her piece and then hang it. So she knit this whole sweater for her husband. I mean, and it was the Dream in Color smushy or classy with the cashmere. She hung it, the thing grew. So, oh my gosh, it was like traumatic. It was terrible. Yeah.
Hmm.
And actually my at the library in our town, they know me there. I live in a very small town. Um, and I go in, and one of the librarians is like, Shayna. And she pulls me into the office and she goes, I got to ask you about something. I have a dress that's stretched out. My daughter bought a dress and it's all stretched. We washed it, blah, blah, blah. We did this and it's stretched out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it's not a hand knit dress. It was a store bought one, but it was knitted. And so just all that weight of knits really can pull. And especially when you have a yarn like cashmere has no give and bounce. So when it opens up, it opens up.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I know, but right, like all these stretchy things, it's knits are sensitive, I guess.
Mhm.
Right?
That's exactly right. Well, that'll be fun. So you're taking this whole thing all summer long.
Yeah, all summer long. So, and then some of the prompts coming up are going to be more like, knit a gift for somebody, knit something for a kid, like things, little prompts just to get people's juices flowing and look at your yarn stash and say, what do I have? How can I use it? That way, when fall comes around, you'll feel really good about buying a zillion new projects at the festivals and your favorite yarn shop
That's
and
right.
things like
Or,
that.
online with Angie. So
Yes,
um,
exactly. Yes, at Pearl the Yarn Bus.
that's right. Question though, I wanted to ask you when you about your stash is okay. Yeah, we buy yarns, we put them away, but the stash that we have where we opened up one skein to use and we've got a bunch left over. So what do you do? Are you weigh it? Do you how do you know what's left in that
I do
bit?
weigh my stash. So I have, yeah, I have like this is the scale I use. It's a kitchen scale. I use it when I'm shipping something out or when I'm weighing my yarn. But if it's something very lightweight or delicate, I have, let me see right in here. I have a jeweler's scale that I'll measure. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like
That
I use,
looks like my I don't know what it looks like. It looks like my kitchen scale, but that's a jeweler scale. How
so
nice.
it's even more precise and it picks up
Lightweight.
yes. So I use that
Mm.
when I'm measuring something like mohair. But I often weigh my yarns when I design because it doesn't do me any good to know that this was one skein of fingering weight. It's better to know that it was 60 grams. So I can say to somebody, if you have 60 grams remaining from your project, you could knit this with it. But in terms of what I do with all those odds and ends, I do save them. So let's say I make a sweater and I have a couple skeins left. I ended up going through my stash last year and putting together this amazing color combo, if I do say so myself. And I realized like I want to knit something big with all of those together. And so this was all odds and ends and random yarns. I knit this blanket.
Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Shayna.
So I'll be releasing this pattern soon with the Summer of Stash because what I did here was I took fingering weight, lace weight, DK Sport, worsted, and chunky, and I combined them in different ways to create all the same gauge. So this one might be a worsted with a DK. This might be double strand worsted. Whatever it is, they
So the
all
gauge ended up being what, bulky?
yes, because I
Okay.
had this pink yarn that one of my students had destashed to me, and I was like, I love that. I want to use that in there. So that was my baseline kind of thing. That was my original gauge, and then everything else I kind of held together to achieve the same width. so that the blanket would have this look. But I'm super proud of this.
I love
So if you have a lot of odds and ends and they're overwhelming you, just put them into a pile of, like an inspiring color combination. And then I have a couple really fun projects that you can use. I have a shawl pattern, a sweater pattern, a baby blanket pattern, and then this one's coming soon. So
Now, do you mark them? Do you mark the balls, or how do you remember, or how do you keep track of that?
I eyeball it. However, like I'll look and I'll say, oh, that's a worsted, or I like have this wacky memory, maybe from owning a yarn shop all those years ago and whatever, that
I didn't know that.
surprise. That's
Me
how
too.
Keith and I really became close. He worked at my yarn shop.
Okay.
So yeah, I owned a yarn shop in Teaneck, New Jersey from 2006 to 2011.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I owned it with my mom and my sister, and then we burnt out. We really burnt out. So then I shifted over to teaching workshops out of my home as a studio. Like I'd use my home, people would come work on whatever they were working on. And now I've morphed into design and teaching more nationally and doing my yarn boxes and things like that. So it's been a really cool career for me. The knitting career has been really fun. But and now I've forgotten the question.
Guess what? I mean, how do you eyeball it?
Yes. So in those patterns my stash busting patterns, I recommend people do a wraps per inch tool if they don't know what weight their yarn is. So with the wraps per inch tool, you wrap your yarn around an inch worth of space and you figure out how many wraps of yarn fit in that space, and that indicates to you what size yarn it is. So if
Never
you're
used one of those.
they're
Mm-mm.
really cool.
Okay.
My biggest issue with it is that there are a few resources out there that give you different sizes. So one might say that 14 wraps is worsted weight, and another might say 16 wraps is worsted weight, or one might say 14 is DK. So basically, as long as you can kind of lump everything into general categories, you're good. But so for me, I just drop my hand in, I'll hold a couple strands together, say to myself, does this feel right? And then I'll work with it. Yeah.
Well, I guess that might be telling us we need to. You've got to go too. You've got to go pick up your child, right?
Time for puppies and kids. So, oh,
But thanks
Angie,
for showing, coming and helping me make sure you were heard today.
thank you,
Well,
Angie.
I
This
can
was
hear
so
you.
fun.
I can hear you.
I want to have tea with you again sometime soon, maybe in person. And actually, if you go up to Rhinebeck this year, the Harney and Sons tea room is not too far from it.
You're kidding.
It
Okay.
probably would have been like a 30-minute drive.
Okay. Then I'm gonna put that on my
Something to
to-do
think about.
list. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Always
Oh,
nice to just talk with you, Shaina.
so nice
Love
to
you.
speak with you. Thanks for having me. Thanks,
All
Angie.
right. Bye.
Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us, everyone. Bye.